There we go.
Buttons
There
hit.
we go.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Yes.
Hey, Joey can hit the button. He's good at hitting buttons.
There you go.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing there, BJ.
I mean,
Huh?
pretty good at hitting buttons too. You know,
Let's
my wife, I might
give
hit the
our.
wrong ones.
Yeah. Well, I'm good at doing that. I'm very good at doing that. All right, let's
Look at
go.
that beautiful bean footage.
Ready?
Ready.
Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast, episode 99. I'm Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, and I'm joined by my co-host, Matt with Wacky Works, BJ with Byram's Custom Woodworks, and the famous Mustachio with the wooden mustache. We're going to do a little segment here and pay a little tribute to our good buddy that has been real generous at sending us out some stuff here. So we're going to do a little advertisement for him. Oops. That was me. That was my fault.
Hey, no freebies. Come on. You're
doubling it. You're doubling down.
I got a little trigger happy there.
It's all right.
There's Mr. Steve. What's going on, guys? How y'all doing on this?
I got a question because I just noticed something. What are you printing in the background?
Me?
Yeah, you. I see the H. Is that the H2D or is that the?
That's the H2D. Those are my last spools of green. I thought I had more, and I guess I did, and it caught me. So I've got some on the way from my favorite filament that I like to use. Hashtag link in my bio, Elegoo. If y'all need some, I recommend it. It prints good. Anyhow, but yeah, I am printing some sustainer rails for my upcoming project. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. I don't want to give too much away. You know, we got segments on that, BJ. You know, we got segments that we're looking for a sponsor for, ain't we?
No, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to go and roll into that one?
Yeah, let's
roll into that beautiful segment we like to call What's Glue with You. And yeah, unfortunately, it's still not sponsored. And we are looking for, the boss of the wood glues to come out and maybe sponsor us, because this old dog's just, we just can't do it all the time. So, but we're going to start with the man, the myth, the legend. We're going to ask the question yet again.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's going on in your shop this week, Joey?
We got a lot of different things. I can't believe, but I unboxed a lot of things this week. It's out of norm for me. I don't know what's going on. I usually
the back haul get too large.
Well, I guess I kind of needed to get those out of the way so my wife wouldn't see that. But no, we hopefully she's not listening. She'll chime in and we'll see. But yeah, we got some as you can see, I've been able to mess around with the Forge 3D vac pods. Man, those things are great. Been messing around with them in the shop, getting my 3 sustainer cabinets going. So I use them quite extensively today. In fact, we were talking about in the back deal about table saws, and if you can imagine the way I position my table saw, it's hard to rip by myself on the 48-inch side. And if it moved over, if I had support to the left of the saw, it'd be great. But anyhow, we could talk about that a little later. But I got everything cut down with the track saw. I'm still lacking one piece because they're 12 inches in width, so I was only able to get 7 pieces out of the plywood. So I'm gonna have to find another piece. But I'm making some sustainer cabinets, and what's printing on the printer are the sustainer rails, so that they could go in there, and then I'll drill them out with the LR32 system to where they're 32 millimeters apart so that you can,
Okay.
because the sustainers are based on 32 millimeters. So you can, you'll be able to get them in there pretty nice.
Now, those only work with the newer sustainers, right?
Yeah,
there's two
the
two
third,
types.
Three.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
well,
that's a three.
Well, like there's different ones. I've got some sustainer tooths that'll work on these. They'll work on these rails. They'll lock in place with the same thing. They're basically have the same locking mechanism. So when I designed this, I tried it on there and they work. So there is some older stuff, but now like your sustainers that have drawers in there, those are a total different setup on the bottom. Well, the ones I got are older, so they will still like stack, but they're not the same rail system on the bottom. It's a little different, but all I'm really trying to get is to put all the tools and all the accessory boxes away, but I just want them to be somewhat symmetrical and look nice and not just stacked on one another, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working. Go ahead.
and then that way you can get back into them if you want. You ain't got to sit there and pull all of these off just to get this one. You can just pull them out, and that's the real
Yes, exactly.
benefit.
You're absolutely right, because it does suck to have to, especially most of the time it's the one that's on the very bottom and you're unstacking everything on top of it, and it's just like, geez, you know, this way. You know, I came in and I designed this myself, and that's what these printers have been printing. I think I got to do another few runs. Hopefully my green will come in sometime this week so I can finish all them, and of course print some extra ones, because I'm pretty sure there'll be more boxes coming.
They just show up. They gave them to me.
I know. They gave them to me. They gave them to me. I don't know. They just give them to me. But that's what I've been working on. I rearranged that part out there. I took that old sustainer rack down. I didn't like it. So I'm going to redo that. And then after that, I'll be jumping into my hand plane cabinet. So yeah, I think that's about it. Just trying these printers out. And I'm really satisfied with them all. Just, you know, it's going to take some time running them to really get a good grasp of how good they really are, you know?
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, how about you, Mr. Wackerly?
I got my order of sustainers in from the sustainer store. I went with the M89s, so that way I could do bins for them for storage for all like the small parts and everything that always clogs up your whole thing. And if you had a place for it, you could label it. You could put it in there. And I am actually getting some drawers from our good friend there, Mr. Tyler, and they'll be full extension drawers. So yours are going to be, they pull out. These will pull out full extension, just like a full extension slide, and I'll be able to open them, and they will be going underneath. I've already measured for them to go underneath my miter saw station. On the right-hand side, I have a pretty large area there, and I'll have 4 rows of sustainers that'll go there that are, 3 high. So that'll give me quite a bit of bits and stuff for storage in there. And then I plan on getting a couple more, I think, for the left side. That'll be for the, I want those for pullouts for, you know, if you're set up something just for electrical, set up something just for, you know, your plumbing, your small plumbing stuff to do. So that way you have something that you can grab and you take with you, and it has every tool in it that you need for it, every little part that you need to do that job. You can take it with you. And I saw that in Tyler's shop, and I really like that application. So trying to get more, you know, you always try to get organized, and the more organized you get, the more you can cram into space. And he has got a very small place to cram into, but he's very organized, so it makes it look big. And that was something I really took to heart by visiting his shop. So I'm trying to do that. I'm also cutting the last little bits. I have a cabinet in here that I'm building, a built-in, that I'm building the face frame out of ash, and it's missing a small piece. And then I have the doors to build for that. I also have all the doors finished, cut those this weekend for all my cabinets that are above my miter saw station. I'm doing half lap joints on those, blind half laps. And so I got all those cut, ready to go. I just got to glue them together and put the rabbet in it to be able to accept the class. And I should be done with those. I got all the hinges already in, all the European hinges. So those will be done. What else I got going on? Put some more stuff up on Etsy. Got a bit more pin blanks, more knife scales. And for the first time, I've put up a 3D print. One of our Patreon members recommended me to do this, and I did it. I did a chainsaw blade holder. So it'll hold 5 chainsaw blades at one time. So that way you can keep them organized. They're not banging around. There's nothing worse than you go to get a chain and you got to sit there and try to unhook it and you're pulling it through and yeah. I have them hanging up, and I just did a design for him personally that he wanted. But I went ahead and I scaled it down a little bit to 5 and put that up on the website as well. Also put my wife's humidors, the single
nice.
that she did. So she's got a couple of these things that she did. So I put them up on the Etsy store to be able to sell.
There's a real talent there at Wacky Works. It isn't really bad.
Yeah. I'm just here to do the grunt work, and she does all the prettiness, makes it look good. So got that done.
Pancakes. She did some good pancakes, didn't she?
Yeah, she don't know how to eat them though.
You just can't hold on.
You hold on. Now you beat me to it. Hold on. Hold on.
And then I'm doing some printing right now for some inserts for my pen blanks. I've been wanting to do some inserts for them. I'm doing those out of Pet G. And so I'll do like a main line of colors. I'll put those up on Etsy as well. But I'm also going to do some pen blanks with Pet G inserts. So
now the file, are you going to 3D print and sell the print, or are you selling the file alone?
I'm going to probably just sell the print. I'll print off a bunch of them. But I mean, they're not going to be that expensive because there's not much to them. But then if you want them in pen blanks, I'll have them in pen blanks as well. So
no, I'm talking the chainsaw holder, bud. Sorry, I should.
Chainsaw holder. I'm actually printing those out as well, and I'll ship them out to you. They're not too bad, but just got to figure out the filament and the fact that I'm doing 25% infill.
It's a hell of an idea. I saw it. Now I couldn't wrap my head around what y'all were doing, and then I seen how it works, and I was like, oh, that's pretty freaking cool. Yeah, very useful.
Yeah, organizing your chain. I mean, I don't carry just but one. I carry probably about 7 chains for my each bar that I have, and so then I can set it up for each bar, and then I can send one up below it that's needs to be sharpened. Whatever, because you're not just going to get in there and sharpen them right away. I don't care who you are. It takes a minute to sharpen up your blades, and so I always have extra ones where I can just hurry up and pop a new one on and go. But yeah,
well, it kind of sucks that we don't have trees down here. I'd buy one, but
chainsaw. What's that?
What is that?
Hey, I got trees, and I don't think I've ever owned a chainsaw. That might be one of my next
3
full purchases.
Dude, I tell you what, if my wife would have recorded the other day when we were coming back, she'd have videoed it. We were on our way back from San Antonio, and I was like, we took a different route, and it's like a pecan orchard kind of. And I mean, these trees were, they look like oak trees to me, but I was like, oh my God, look how big these trees are. They're freaking huge. They got trees. I was like, oh my God, look at this. I said, I'd move over here just so I could be next to one of these things, because I don't do that very often. I was in awe. I was like,
start singing a whole new world from Aladdin.
Now, all joking aside, I will say this: I was totally against it for the longest time. But electric chainsaws, I have one. Well, my wife has one. I bought her an electric chainsaw so that she could help me de-limbing and stuff like that. I think it's a 18-inch because I didn't want her using the 30.
DeWalt or
it is a DeWalt. DeWalt 20 volt to 2060 volt. series. That thing's amazing. I mean, it'll cut.
What I've heard.
Yeah, it'll do. And I mean, you got to make sure you do it justice with the sharpening the blade or whatever, because if it gets pinched, it will stop. But when it comes down to cutting, that thing will cut. It does a pretty good job. So, yeah.
Yeah, I looked at that Milwaukee battery one. I'm like, God, that is expensive. Dang. I just don't think I can stomach it.
What you got going on, Mustachio?
Let's see. A little bit of stuff done out in the shop. Finished the spray paint can wall. That's all done. I got enough. I think I got like eight extra slots for extra cans if I need it. And I actually took the CNC off the table saw yesterday.
What?
Move some stuff around. I had to make some cuts for the Milwaukee chargers because I got them hanging upside down like a weirdo.
How much debonder did you have to use?
Zero actually.
Got him.
But yeah, I'm making like a weird little 45 box so that the upside down battery charger can not have the battery slide out. So it's going to be like flat as it goes in instead of angled and wanting to fall out. So that was cool using the table saw. It's been months. It's been months since I've fired that up. It was.
Well, you got your new dust collection hooked to it, don't you?
Yes. I have the. Well, I gotta do. I did like the dumb tape. This hose to this hose to this hose, right. And then
just to get it to work for now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll have a more permanent solution in the near future for that. Got the lawn mowed today. I had a high schooler knock on the door a couple nights ago at like 6 p.m. and I'm like, oh gosh, this kid looks too young to be like selling something. Like, what does he want? And he's like, hey, do you want your lawn mowed? I'm like, it's that bad, huh?
That's the equivalent of somebody coming by and wash me on the back of your vehicle, isn't it?
So I said no, but I finally got around to mowing it today, and I got a little 4x8 utility trailer that still has grass from last year on it.
If you want to call it a trailer.
I got to get to the dump. So, yeah. And maybe an hour before we started this, I decided to put my thumb in a terrible spot as I was using the pin nailer. And I shot a nail right through my thumb. You're on mute, Matt.
That was purposely done. That was purposely done.
How does that feel?
You can't say that kind of stuff around that man, Mustache. Come on.
It's fine. I mean, thankfully, I couldn't find my 18 gauge finish nailer because that would have been a little more worse. I had the 23 gauge pin nailer, so. It stopped bleeding finally, but that went right through the nail. I looked down at my thumb. I was like, "Huh."
That's what that feels like.
Pulled my thumb off the piece. Oh yeah,
that's gonna be throbbing later tonight, and then tomorrow it's gonna be so tender.
No,
every time you go to pick something up, it's gonna hurt.
I mean, I have minimal blood on because I was determined to finish those little 45-degree things. It's just like, well, hopefully this can stop bleeding. I thought about doing the Starbond trick, and I was like,
Of all the safety talks we've had on here, and you didn't out in one ear, out the other, man.
This is only the second time I've done that.
Supposed to take your time.
One time would have been
All
enough.
it takes is one.
I'm about to say it only took me once, and now my fingers don't go anywhere near that nail gun.
Those little
every single
surprising
nail,
pokes. Those little surprising pokes, they get you every time.
they do. I mean, every single nail. It was just a tiny piece to like hold together. Didn't use glue. Yeah.
Just remember,
That's
it's like
my own fault.
it's like that line from Zorro. You know, when he's asked him how to use the sword, you know how to use this? He goes, yes, the pointy end goes into the bad guy. And it's like, yeah, the pointy end of the nail gun doesn't go near your fingers.
Yes.
What was that show? It was like a home improvement show they had on TV where they did like remade your backyard, right? And they had
I know what you're talking about.
a mead or what, I forget what his name was, but they were swinging the camera around as he stuck his hand down and stuck that nail gun and shot it right through his finger. And it was 16 gauge or 16 gauge nail. Wow, just right through his finger. It's just like, oh, that's live action right there, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm.
There was one on TikTok, I think, where those framing guys were just, you know how quick they are. They were boom, 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 boom.
Shot
And
it
on
through the bottom.
Yep. He stuck to it, and they're sitting there trying to pull it out.
Yeah.
And that dude was like, and the manager
shaking.
there, it was, it's horrible. Every time they moved it, he's like, just, I can imagine, but it was just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was talking to someone the other day about that, and they were framing up a garage and had a framing nailer that it like decided to go full auto. So it fired like 5 or 6 times at a time. And as he's pulling it away, it ends up shooting through the meat of his hand. Like it jammed and just kept going. And it's like, well, didn't you think to let go of the trigger? And he's like, yeah, after I shot myself in the hand, I let go of the trigger. I'm like, jeez.
That was the definitive right there.
Yeah. I was like, well, how'd you get the nail out? And he goes, I just grabbed a framing hammer and braced my hand and pulled it out. I'm like, oh. He goes, yeah, I didn't use that nail gun anymore. It kept just wanting to like, burst fire or something. And it wasn't, he said it didn't have the mode where it would burst fire.
But when you put those guns on that repetitious fire like that, and you're running about 120 psi on them, just the first hit, it bounces enough to where, and if you have your weight on there,
oh, it'll keep going.
It'll just keep going, and it'll just go and go and go, and it's like, I've come close to my foot before. I tell you that. I've come close. I didn't get it in there, but it fired right there at the tip of my boot. And I was like, oh, that needs to get turned off. I'm not no pro here.
So that's it for me. What about you, PJ?
Well, my shop is in complete disarray. Decided to take a page out of Mustachio's book and just completely undo the shop today. Because I've been working on the dust collection. I'm still waiting on a few parts to come in, waiting on 3 blast gates and some other stuff to finish it out. But yeah, I decided to move my bandsaw to the other side of the shop and just it needed a good deep clean. But the cool thing is, so talking about the dust collection, I was doing a little testing today with the help of my wonderful wife, because she was helping me close off the other port so I could actually test it. And initial testing at the CNC on the old dust pipe, I was getting about 390 CFM at the pipe, not at the dust boot. So 390 CFM at the pipe. Now with the metal piping and reduced flex hose, I'm getting 520 CFM at the CNC. So,
it's a big jump.
And then at my floor sweep, which has 20 feet of flex hose, because it's the Rockler flex hose, that jumped 60 CFM. which I know I wasn't looking for a huge gain there just because of all that flexos, but a 60 CFM jump on that's nothing to shake a stick at. So I'm really excited to see everything else.
Gonna be good. It's gonna be
Yeah.
you're gonna notice a big difference on the collection side of it for sure.
Oh yeah. So and just running it, I have noticed it seems quieter because it doesn't
Really?
have it was almost like that PVC was causing, because of all the turbulent air that it was creating,
Mhm.
it was causing way more noise. And now that it's smooth wall, it's not quiet by any means, but it's
you mean the turbulent noise between the input and then the smooth pipe that you had, 'cause you had
yes.
a flex line between it, right?
Well, and not all of it was flex line,
No,
but
but
it just
between
yeah.
there and the pipe, you had a piece of flex line, and
Yes.
you know that would make sense.
Yeah. But I mean, you figure all the ridges and everything with the PVC too, with all the connectors, because you'll have that hard, that sharp edge in there.
Yeah.
It just, and I don't think it's necessarily quieter. I didn't test it with a decibel meter, but it's like there's a hum that's not there. It's like it's just kind of changed the frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my biggest thing with the old system, noise wise, is if it ran for a long time, that whatever frequency it was humming at would end up giving you a headache over time. And I'm hoping with this new, since that hum is gone, I won't have that problem. But either way, I can already tell a pretty significant difference.
Are those
now-
free? Are those free like iPhone, Android decibel meter apps like decent, or
they're
are you better off
decent.
with their own thing?
They're decent for quick things, because I've done testing with some air compressors, because I've got the California Air Tools, and the number I was getting, they tested at the same distance, and it was about a 3 decibel difference is what they were getting. And as you know, with decibels, because it's linear, 1 to 2 decibels different is a substantial change. But I mean, the microphones on the phones are pretty sensitive. I mean, I wouldn't rely on it for scientific calculations or anything, but
it gives you a good estimate of what it could be, and you can notice the difference. It'll, if it does get quieter.
Yeah. I wish I would have tested this now, thinking about it, because I just didn't think about it. I wish I would have tested the decibels.
Well, you still can just tear it all back down, put
Nope.
all the old stuff back up.
No,
I mean,
no.
I'm giving you your wish, bud.
No, you can fly out here and you can help me.
I'm giving you your wish.
No,
yeah.
I will just say, it's like that, the butt dyno, my ears tell me it's better. So that's all that I'm concerned about at this point.
He's all about giving those wishes,
Yeah, but yeah, other than that, really not a whole lot, just, yeah, that's about it.
Right.
I might have a river table project coming up here shortly. So we're just waiting on a few things. Yeah, 60 by 72 river table.
Ooh, that's wide.
She gonna be big. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's really wide.
That's larger than what you got on your CNC.
Oh, this is going to end up going to the lumber mill to be flattened, 100%, because they have the capacity for it.
Yeah.
So we'll just figure that into the price, because $100 an hour to flatten, it's going to get expensive. But yeah,
and just handling that weight, that's manhandling that weight. That's heavy.
When I texted my buddy at the lumber yard about it, I was like, so if I bring all the material for the molds, can I just pour it at your shop? You got enough room. We'll just do the epoxy pour at your shop, and then it's an easy demold it, move over to your slab miser, and then I can bring it home. And he's like, yeah, I'll charge you for it. And like, it might be worth it, just so I don't have to lug it, because I don't think my wife and I can move a table that big. I'm gonna need some other assistance.
Yeah. I mean, once you get it poured and it becomes one big piece, right? Because it's going to be a 2-piece deal for a little bit.
Yeah.
until you pour it. Then it becomes one, and ugh.
So would you finish? You would do all the finish work and everything there also?
No, that's when I bring it home. If we could do that, it's just kind of figuring out the time, because the problem is they're not open Sunday, Mondays, which are my days off. So that would have to factor into it. And
Yeah, I would say just have them flatten it and bring it back. Don't
yeah,
have to.
because my thing, I don't really have the room in my shop for something that big. So it might be, hey, if y'all want to do this, just give me a commission out of the build for bringing you the job type thing, or I'll figure in a contractor's price or something and let them do it for me. So
That's a awfully big table. You could do like maybe rig, but I don't know how tall your ceilings in your shop.
8 feet.
8 foot. Oh yeah. Well, you could rig one those little Harbor Freight hoists. Electric hoists are pretty strong. Once you double pulley them, you could use that to help you
Yeah.
maneuver it and stuff. They're fairly reasonable, about $100, I think, $120.
Yeah.
They could have gone up, but they're strong. I mean, hell, I lifted that big dust collector up with one of those after I built some scaffolding in here because I didn't have anything to lift it, and I just used a toolbar off of an implement, ran it across the top. I have pictures where I went and got one of those Harbor Freight electric hoists, and that's how I winched that top section of that dust collector up there. It is heavy. There's no way we were going to manhandle that thing. They're strong. Hell,
Yeah.
I watched my dad lift sheets of metal with those things. I would
That's
never
what
get near it.
I got the smallest one that's
Yeah.
placed in my stairs up in my shop. So
Okay. Oh, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Really, I mean, it's going to come down to if they're cool with the price, because they sent me a picture from a website that does epoxy stuff, and I'm looking at the prices they're quoting for a table that size, and there's no way I'm not touching it for close to 3 times the price that they're asking for it.
My cousin called me once and she's like, hey, she sent me a picture. She said, could you build that? I said, I could. Do I want to do it? No, but I can. And she's like, well, what do you think, that would cost? I said, if you want me to build that table for you, I mean, just shot off the hip, minimum $5,000. She said, what? She said, I thought I could get it for like maybe $800,000. I said, that ain't going to buy the lumber. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
She wanted a river table. I mean, I said, there's no way. And it was a big one. It was not small. I said, I'm not doing it. No.
Well, I mean, for instance, the slabs, because I've already got the prices on the slabs. The cost of the slabs is more than this place is selling the entire table for.
there you
So-
go there then.
Yeah.
It's like,
No way.
yeah.
A lot of people don't understand the cost and the amount of work that goes into those.
Well, and these
babysitting.
people do, because her husband owns a metal. He does metal fab.
Mhm.
So they get it, and they understand that it's not going to be cheap. But when I give her a price that's substantially higher than what this place is charging, hey, it's not going to hurt my feelings if you want to go there, because that's going to be a lot of work on my time. That's a couple months. And I think the other thing is she wanted to know how fast I could do it. And it's like, this is going to take 6 months, because I won't and that's the biggest problem, is it's going to sit in a mold for 2 months. I can't really even work it for a couple months. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyways, let's move on to that old Mustachio's got something he wants to talk about.
I do. I would like to thank our patrons out there who are keeping the lights on for us and supporting us. I will start off with Scott Shirk from Willow Creek Lumber, Don Patterson from What's Next Woodworking, Matthew Serio from Artigiano Serio, Victor, and I'm sorry, Victor, I might mispronounce this, Arigma from Wim Design, and our brand new patron, Mr. Steve Iadarola from Steve I Design.
Heck yeah.
We thank you all for your support, and if you would like to join them, we have links on our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. In addition, do we put that on the podcast, on our streaming podcast platforms? I don't know if we have the the Patreon link on there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, merch, everything's on there.
Yeah, perfect. So if you'd like to help support us, we greatly appreciate it, and thank you for everyone who's doing it already.
Yeah, we're professional here, Mustache. What are you talking about? We got everything.
Never mind. I'm just gonna be quiet.
Let it go, BJ. Let it go. Let it go. Victor said thank you for trying, Mustachio, but
I
just saw that we lost him as a Patreon because of that.
Oh, man. What is it about? Because every podcast I listen to that has a Matt that reads the Patreon stuff never can get names right. I think it's just something to do with Matt's.
But you give it to me, I'm definitely going to butcher the crap out of it.
See? Exactly. Point made. Thank you.
It's going to be Victor Fuzzy Wuzzy.
Not going to work here tomorrow.
Boy, I tell you what, Victor pounced on that little story that BJ put out today about
the scroll saw.
Oh yeah, he sent me a message right. Even though I put I'll block you if you send me one. He sent me a message so fast. It was like, dang, I don't think the story had time to
marinate.
Marinate.
He's the first one that saw it. Like,
he jumped on it. He's like, it's on it. He sent me a message. He said it's on its way, and I said, "Oh God, here we go, freaking BJ." But he didn't. He said,
"I just figured I had to get it out because running the dust collection under the workbench, and I was like, Joey will appreciate this."
I found the perfect song to go with it, though, too. So if you haven't seen that story on my page, go check it out. I loved every bit of it. Not saying nothing against you, scroll sawers. Just nothing against you.
He has
got nothing for you, scroll.
Yeah.
Ain't a whole lot of people that do. So, like you wouldn't have done the same thing.
You just beat me to it.
I would have been
I'd
have been right on top of it. It was so quick. I was like, dang, Victor, I didn't even have time to look at the story, and he's already sent it to me. I just posted that thing. Oh man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the help, Victor.
Yeah. Now you start those little wars. Remember, and there's retaliation. Don't get your feelings hurt.
That's all right.
Feelings hurt.
But anyhow, what are we talking about tonight, boys?
Problems. That's a good segue into it.
Hey, we started off good.
Joey's problem is he doesn't get enough scroll saw content on his Instagram. That's a
big negative. Mm-hmm. It's a big negative. I get plenty. Don't worry about it. So yeah, we're talking about problems, and podcast isn't one of them. At least we don't think it is. Some people may differ. May think a little different than that.
I can tell you that it hasn't been, because we've been here for 99 episodes now. This being the 99th, and next week being the 100th. And I think we've done really great with our people that have tuned in, checked out the show, the input that they've given us. It's been great, and so I don't think the podcast has been a problem at all. I mean, you look back at the podcasts that we've had, the guests that we've had. I mean, people agreeing to talk to me. Oh my goodness! I mean, we're lucky people.
Well, there was that one guest. Back in November, I think.
Yeah, he was horrible.
God, his beard was absolute crap too. I mean, geez.
Mm-hmm. He was so bad he had to cut it off.
I know. God, yeah. What a loser.
That's what happens when you get involved with this.
Exactly.
The middle stress gets so bad. The middle stress gets so bad you got to shave your beard off and start over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud.
I think we've done some great things that we've done so far, and with next week, we got some great people that are going to be giving away some things. And I think it's all the people that have been listening it's just been amazing. It really has. Joey and me had talked about this podcast thing 100 episodes, well, more than 100 episodes ago, and we put it on the back burner, and then Joey said, we're going to do it. And I said, okay, what are we going to do? and we did it. And I think that it's evolved. So, from then until now, which it's going to, you don't just start riding wheelies and doing endos and backflips but I think that it's progressed very well. So that's why I don't think the podcast is a problem at all.
No, and
I like this: boxes problem, colors problem, procrastinate. Yeah,
yeah.
I got a box thing. Matt has a color thing, and the other two, I don't know. They just deal with it. They just deal with us. But I got to say that we've met a lot of great people along the way.
Yes.
Lots of great people. Made some dang good friends. I almost cussed. Met some good friends. Created some very good friends over this. Even though we've never met you, it feels like, we have. I mean, we talk to a lot of people, a lot of good folks every day. Pull each other's strings. It's fun. We can sit here and go on and on and on about it, and we appreciate everybody that's supporting us. And it's going to show next week. We've have some great companies that are going to sponsor this show and give to the community. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be great.
I think so.
Yeah. Those that are listening tonight, make sure you tell everybody, because the more we have in here, well, then again, you might not want to tell everybody, because the more we have in here, the less chances you have of winning.
It's true.
Yeah, and it just, of course, I don't want to get too far into it. As far as we'd like to get to a point where we could give back. The show could give back to our listeners as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still young, and that's what we're working against. I've never sought out to, and I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but I've never sought out to get into this to try to make money for myself. It's always just to meet people, have a good time, and then if we can return, something to the listeners, then it's all great. Keep the lights on, like Mustache says, and then continue to give back to our listeners and continue to make good friends and have fun doing it. That's what it's all about, and showcase some of these great people that do great things. And we'll eventually try to get to everybody. It just takes time.
It does.
It takes time to get to everybody, but it's been fun, and I hope we can continue to have this fun, so anyhow, let's jump into problems. Or y'all, I didn't mean to cut you off. BJ, Mustache, y'all have anything y'all want to say? Go ahead.
No, I mean,
no,
it's been fun. I've met a bunch of new people that I didn't know since I came on the podcast back in December. That's when I came on.
I think so.
And that was kind of the same. We had it off, off the record conversation. Those that don't know, I was in the process of starting my own podcast, and these guys asked me, hey, they sent me a message one day, said, hey, you want to be a guest on here? And then we got to talking after the podcast, and they're like, hey, why don't you come be a host here? And I was grateful for the invite, and then got into realizing that there's a lot of work that goes into running a podcast. And I'm like, damn, I'm glad I didn't do this by myself. I'm like, oof.
Yeah.
You bring something up good. It takes a lot, and everybody has their own job per se, but if somebody can't do it, one of us takes over. Because if you want to try to get yourself out there, there's a lot of stuff in the background that goes on, getting reels ready, scheduling the shows, finding people to come on the show if they want to, et cetera, et cetera. It's a lot of work. I think what Matt and I learned from the previous shows is how to kind of simplify that stuff and try to break it all up and not let not put the obligation on just one or two people, because it will get overwhelming, and the show will lack because of that. So
Yes.
there's being able to do it, and we get it. Life gets in the way, and things come up, and you got to do things with the family and whatever. So it's not that big of a deal if we miss stuff, but we have seen the growth. I would say by doing what we've been doing lately, we can see it. We can see this getting out a little further.
Yeah.
And it's doing good and attracting other people. I see it every day, through follows, etc. And it's good. I'm glad people are liking it. I hope y'all are. And we're going to, try to do it.
Heck
yeah. Mustache.
Definitely.
Have you guys? I was just going to ask. Have you guys been doing the live YouTube the entire time for every episode, or was that like shortly into it?
That was every episode from the beginning. We knew we wanted to go live on YouTube, and I think that was key. It's something that most people don't do, and it gave us a platform where we could bring people in, give people a face. See their story, and I think that was very beneficial.
Well, and because I appreciate that, because there's a lot of podcasts out there that do the live YouTube, but you have to be a certain level Patreon member to do that. And that's one thing that we do different than most. It's like, hey, here's video. Y'all want to come out and hang out with us while we're recording? Like, to me, that's something really cool that we do that not a lot of other people do. And if they start copying us and doing our thing, we just we know we started this.
I mean, it was and it's cool because I did hear somebody, and I'm not going to remember who it was, but it's like they love the fact that video is going to be there. I mean, forever, right? So that they can then go send that to their family members, and they could come in there and watch it. And that was what they really liked about it. And you're not just hearing your voice on the podcaster, right? On the podcast channels, you actually could come in here and see a video, because you're not going to get everybody. What we've learned, you're not going to get everybody to come in here, right? Some people that are on Instagram won't come to YouTube, and vice versa. That's why we try to stream to everything, and we try to figure out what's working the best. But it's always a platform where somebody can come watch their show, right? They can come watch that episode and, go ahead.
So I was going to ask this: how many of y'all, do any of y'all go back and listen to episodes when they're posted every week?
I do. I have to.
Well, you don't count.
I cannot listen to myself. I cannot listen to myself. It's hard. Like when I'm editing my own YouTube videos, I can do that, but I won't go back and watch it. After I post it, I'm done with it. I can't listen to I'll start listening to myself like on Spotify, and then I shut it off. I can't do it.
So
I can't do it.
I do on occasion. And on the, at the day job, when we test connections and stuff and speeds, I've started going in and pulling up YouTube and pulling up our podcast channel. So in front of customers playing our podcast, which is kind of funny because I've had a lot of people go, "Oh, you have a podcast?" It's like, yeah, it's just quick and easy to pull up. They're like, "Oh, cool." So that's it. But I'll listen to it every once in a while in the car if I just, if I run out of other podcasts to listen to. It's like I'll throw it on, and I listen to more of the Friday Night Lives that we do, just because there's so much that we talk about during those.
Oh yeah.
And there was one I was like, oh, I completely forgot about this conversation that we had on this live.
See, I wish Joey and I were doing those, because we were doing Friday Night Lives for a year or more before I came on the podcast, right, Joey?
Right.
And like imagine if those we were doing on YouTube, and you could actually like go back and like listen or watch them and stuff, like, because we had some interesting people on, and we had some good conversations, and You know,
Yeah.
like I would try if I started the live, I would try to save. I wouldn't repost it, but I would definitely try to save at least the live. So
Yeah.
you know, I could go back
I
to
wish
it.
that StreamYard would have a better connection
Interaction.
with Instagram, interaction with Instagram,
Yeah.
Yes.
so that we would be able to pull people in like we used to. That's the only thing that I do not like is that there's people in the chat. We're streaming to it, but we can't actually pull those people in. You know, some
or
people
see what they say.
that's what I miss. That's what I miss because some people would like to join and we would bring them in, right? But
Yeah.
we're always just we can have a max of 4 in there. Streaming it through StreamYard, we can bring in, I think we can have 20 up to 20 people in the backstage, but only bring 10 in.
10.
Yeah,
10
10
in live.
10 on the live, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And some people, like I say, they don't want to do it. Some of our buddies will come in, we'll send them a link and they'll jump in there with us for a little bit. But you can bring more people in and everybody gets to talk, and that's what's fun about it. You know, that's why that's why we've changed to StreamYard for those live shows. I do miss the fact that we can't bring some of the other people in, you know, but you know, we're evolving with it. We'll figure it out and hopefully make it better. But you know, there's always changes happening with these kind of things. Just striving to make it better. Give people something to watch. That's how you attract them, I guess. You know, but but yeah, I guess that's one of the problems.
Facebook just needs to share the code with Instagram. Like they're all meta. Come on.
Don't even get me started on that. That can be its own episode. I mean, I don't think we can ever hit on that enough to figure that out. Is that's like the I don't know.
Yeah, let's throw a problem and not to start the whole meta conversation. Yeah, I lost my monetization on Facebook the other day because so it was my son's birthday. I reposted a picture that he posted to his Instagram, and they're like, "Oh, you didn't use original content, so we're taking your monetization away because you reposted, you know, somebody else's original content." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" Like, oh my God. And they wouldn't even let me appeal it. They're like, "Hey, you're demonetized for 6 months because of this." I'm like,
they did it to me. You know why they did it to me? They did the same thing to me on Facebook, and it was my own video. It was me and my boy in there, and they said you posted unoriginal content, and they gave me a strike and took my monetization away. Yeah. I'm like, this is us. This is
I'm
us.
in the video.
I'm in the video. How the hell isn't this my content? I was like, is that AI doing it? Did it see something in it that
I think so? Yeah.
What you know, I was like, what? When I seen that copyright hit, I was like, this is me in the video. How is this not original? I don't know. That's what frustrates me with them. That's why I mean I do post to it, but I don't post a lot. My main flow is to YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. I don't like messing with them, even though I'm monetized on there. I don't really mess with it because there's always something that it gets you for. Some little thing. You see, we weren't going to get into this, but you got me fired up, BJ.
Let's move on. So what shop problems? What other problems? What shop problems are we dealing with?
Oh,
being organized.
Yeah.
That's
I will say
focus.
not having a fully functioning dust collection. Like I know, yes, at the end of the day, my tools worked without dust collection. I just hate running them without dust collection just because, you know, like the miter saw, for instance, it puts out so much junk. And running the table saw without dust collection, like you don't realize, like when you completely, you know, take like, and it's a simple thing, dust collection, you take that down, like to me, it's an inconvenience. And I guess it's just the fact that I really like my shop clean, but it's just like, come on, like, and
We've gotten
and then
spoiled. That's what
it
is.
has. And then it's also in that fact, like, I love just building things. I try to film every once in a while, but trying to do this, this build, this install, and film it at the same time. And it's like, I've almost knocked my camera over like 5 times now, because I'll put it in a nice space where it's going to get a great video of what I'm doing. Well, of course, then I go to run a piece of, lay a piece of pipe in or something, and it's like, yeah, the camera's right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
you got it's like the ladder. You got the ladder on your shoulder,
Yep.
and you spin around, and whoop, there goes the camera.
Yeah. I mean, the nice part is there's probably be a decent blooper reel at the end of this video if I decide to do that.
Oh, you have to do a blooper reel. Oh, yeah.
Well, the problem is, so my original intro that I did, where I told you I made the jokes and stuff and was gonna have some good blooper reels, yeah, the SD card got corrupted. I lost my entire intro and had to refilm it after I'd already, taken down the old, piping and stuff. But it is what it is.
I think I remember you saying that.
Yeah, but because there's creators out there that I love watching them just for their bloopers. There's a couple good ones out there, but
I mean, organization is an ongoing battle. I'm doing one right now to try to organize stuff, trying to get everything into one area where it's at, because I'm bad about misplacing things and not, like, I know I have it, but I can't find it. Just like that dang tape measure. I know I have a metric tape measure in here and I can't find it. I don't know where it's at. And there's just certain places, I mean, I would put that stuff and it's not there. So organize, trying to get everything put into one place, to go back. But the bad thing is, make sure it gets put back there.
Yeah.
That's
why I love that. I almost said Kydex foam, the Kaizen foam, because then you can cut a spot for everything to go in every drawer. And it is just, it's a little more expensive, but for easy tool storage, either that or heck, 3D print stuff,
Yeah, I mean, these things,
everything's got a spot. Yeah.
I mean, Tyler's got some good solutions. I mean, I can't plug him enough. The guy's he's got some good things on his site that can help. And we've all, been fortunate to get some of that stuff and try it out. And, it's great things to help. All those little things that you need. Yeah. He's got a question. In fact, let me bring it up. Anyone paying for Meta Verified, would that improve the experience or reach?
I am not, and I talked to someone that did, and they said it added no impact to their views on their videos on Facebook or Instagram.
And Joe,
I
you are
am
correct?
paying for it. I am paying for it. And the reason, when it came out, it was supposed to increase reach. It was supposed to do that kind of stuff. It did not do it.
Nope.
It does not do it. Now, and at the time that it did, I was putting out a lot of content. I've kind of scaled back, and all I'm doing is really stories. I'll put a reel out here and there. Just like opening all the boxes this week, I did put out a reel. I mean, I was kind of going crazy this week. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe it's in the air or something. But one of the main reasons too was hearing the horrific deals of people getting their platforms hijacked and not being able to get it back. And that's one of the things that's supposed to help you. Also, is you're supposed to go in there and download your profile every so often. Mustachio showed me that, where you can get that file and download it to where if you do get hacked, that's a way to get it back. And the contact to get to somebody to talk to. Every time we've gone in there, that I've gone in there and have an issue, within less than 5 minutes, really less than 2 minutes, somebody answers you back. You get a live human being that answers you back, and they'll help you work through it. And every time I've had an issue, it's been fixed. It's been resolved. That I will say is very useful when you do have problems. Is it worth that $15 a month? Yeah, I don't know, but it's a little peace of mind for me, because we all work hard to build these platforms, some
Yeah.
more than others, and to just lose it because of some knothead that's going to go in there and try to hijack it. I mean, that pretty much take the wind out of my sails. I don't know
Oh,
if I
yeah.
start all over again or not, you know?
Well, to add to that point, Joey, about getting hacked and stuff, like a lot of people do not have like any posts, reels, anything of like their face, you know, for example, like they're so if I had a bunch of content of like cutting boards or something on my page and I was like I got hacked, they'd be like, okay, prove it's you, and like there's no posts of my face or anything on anything. Like I don't know if that would help with like recovering your account if you're in a tough spot and you got hacked, but I mean it could. I mean,
I definitely think so, because I know, was it Drew Fisher? He got hacked a couple months ago,
yes, I remember that.
and the amount, I think it was on his YouTube channel,
It was.
and the amount of work
weird.
he had to go through.
He got hacked a weird way.
Yeah. They sent him a download or something, sent him a file or something
like
that. But it's like the amount of work he had, and luckily it was like he could prove like this is me, like you can literally see my face.
Yep.
On this, here's what's going on, and you know, I mean, if you're not into the, you know, what do they call them, the talking head videos?
Yes,
Then,
with your head's in a little bubble down in the bottom.
Well, no, just I call just talking to the camera talking head videos, so I guess that's a different thing. But that's
what their
what
videos called the Wailing Jennings effect. They keep it showing my hands, but not my face on TV.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, all right.
You just made my brain work.
Yeah.
I had to do things up there.
I had to do things up there.
That's what that smoke coming out of your ears was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Old gears were grinding.
So if you don't catch the reference, it's the Waylon Jennings singing the Dukes of Hazzard theme song. The second verse is, they keep us showing my hands but not my face on TV, because the beginning of the thing was just him playing the guitar without his face.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I love me some Waylon Jennings, man. So keeping on the social media trend, talking about problems. So I'll throw this out there. You know, we're talking problems. So mental health. I made a big kick, about a year ago, or a little over a year ago, to where I was going to post content daily to Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. Yeah. And I think Facebook too. Yeah, I was posting to all four daily. And so that required me to make sure I had fresh, new content to post every single day. You know, having to post the same content to all four channels. You know, and every one of those, you have to use a different format when you're putting in. You can't just copy and paste, especially if you're tagging people. You can't copy and paste it. There's still like you're having to type out, you know, whatever. And I will say that's a problem that I see for a lot of people. And I know there's a lot of people that were doing it. It wasn't just me. I'm not saying I'm the only one that was doing it. But you can see the strain that it puts on people having to post daily to get those numbers. But that was the thing. Like that was that whole beat the algorithm thing. Like if you posted every day at the exact same time every single day, you know, it got you the views and everything. And I did that until like, you know, I started seeing a substantial drop off. Like I was going from 50 to 100,000 views on average for videos to 1,000 to 2,000 views, you know, and I had videos on Facebook that were getting millions of views. And then all of a sudden it's like 5,000-10,000. I was like, cool. Okay. And then I also noticed my mental health just I couldn't keep up with the strain, because it's like you're still doing a full-time job, having to come home every night. And I would try to on Sundays and on my days off to film enough content for the week.
And you're not seeing the return. You're not seeing the benefit of it. So
and there was
like, why?
Yeah, there for a while, like the benefit was pretty good, and the monetization was pretty good. But as it starts dropping off, you're just like, okay, what the heck's the point anymore? Like, I'm doing the same thing that I've always done. I'm doing what these channels want me to do, but all I'm doing is just stressing myself out. All right, cool. And I'm gonna post whenever I feel like it, or if I have a commitment, and that's really it. Like, and I've gone to posting more stories. I found that stories tend to do better, at least on Instagram, than anything else. Like, I
Isn't
get
that
a lot
weird?
more. I get a lot more interactions with stories
Yep.
than posting
I've
stuff. And
I've noticed that, BJ.
yeah,
That's why
I feel like
kind
this.
of backed off of that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like the stories are more personal because, like,
Mhm.
I'm not
yeah.
gonna post. I'm not gonna make a post on Instagram that I cut my lawn, but I'll do a story. You
Yeah.
know, like,
Well, and it's also a quick win. It's
Yep.
Yeah.
where if you got to post a reel, you got to put more time into it, and then you're going to put time into it, and then not see. You could or not. Even if you don't see the return on it. That's like going to work and not getting paid.
Yeah.
Yep.
At the end of the day.
My
but,
biggest
but,
thing doing,
but again, real quick, but again, if you're gonna, here's the thing, because we've been down this road before. You got to be able to do how do I want to say it? Do the time or pay your. My mind went blank. Pay your dues
yeah,
if you want to be in this as a content creator. Let's just call it whatever, right? You're not going to get that all the time, but it hurts when you put all this time into it
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
for this many views. But it's like, if you think back to when you first started, right? And
you didn't get any views.
You
Yeah.
didn't get any
Yeah.
views, or you got 10 views and you were happy.
heck yeah,
Yep.
that was awesome.
And now we're spoiled.
3
right?
people liked my Instagram post. Like,
Now we're spoiled because we don't get 1,000 views. It's like,
Yeah.
really? Come on. I mean, I kind of put myself back too, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute now. Just be grateful people are watching your stuff.
exactly.
You want to put up with it, But it was like when I first put my first YouTube video. It's like it didn't get a whole lot. It's horrible. My God. And I still leave it on there. I'm surprised I haven't, but I won't delete it because that's where I started.
Yep.
And now moving forward. And sometimes you hit some that are good and you'll get a lot of views. We can't be like Matt where he's got 20 million views, but it would be great to have one, but that's like that's cool, but you see a lot of people that do it. I kind of question sometimes though too, are they just getting that lucky or are they paying to get that?
100% luck.
I've seen some content out there where
No, I'm not talking about you, bud. No, I'm not saying you.
I am.
Yeah.
No.
Like I've seen some where you see the content and it's like, oh, this one video got 50,000 likes. It's only been up for 2 hours, and it's like, how? Like, you look at the content, it's like it's pointless. Like, it makes no sense. Now a lot of it is AI created and stuff like that, and it is what it is. And yeah, I'm not in it for the numbers anymore. Luckily, and one of the cool things that I've noticed is there's companies out there that they've stopped looking at the whole, like, the view number and the follower number. They've looked at interaction. And because years ago you reach out to a company, it's like, hey, I'd like to work with you on this project or whatever, and it's like, oh, well, you don't have 50,000 followers or you don't have 100,000 followers. Well, it's like, yeah, I get that, but my videos on average get this many more views than people with 100,000, and I also interact with my followers. And they've started coming around to see that interaction is better than follower count sometimes. Because if you're interacting with people and you're answering questions in the post, that does make a difference. But I've also seriously stepped back on attempting to work with sponsors on stuff, if I get reached out to. And it's funny. So I was actually looking at my email earlier. I got 2 sponsor requests, and this is funny. One of them is from Hey Dude to create content for Hey Dude for some new shoe that they're releasing. Part of me is like, hey, I love Hey Dude, so I might do it. I just got one today from PF Chang to be to create content for PF Chang. I'm like, you're I mean, yeah. And that's what I see a lot of it, I see that's a problem.
I get a lot of them. I mean, one that they hit it right on the nail was a foodie, being a foodie and go out there and try stuff out. And I was like, yeah, you hit that one right. You hit that nail right on the head. You can tell I like it, right? But I've gotten a lot. It's been like nutrition things, and stuff like that, to where, but there is some, like I had a laser company hit me up and I denied them. Like they wanted to send me another diode laser, and I said, I've already done a review on one. I don't want to do another one just for a free laser. No, and now they had a bigger one, and I sent them a message back. I said, I'll negotiate with you on doing one of those if you want. And they just liked my message and never messaged me back. And I'm like, okay, no skin off my back, but it's you gotta get to that point, I guess. And just because somebody messaged you and wants to send you something, don't do it. But why don't we get into the shop? Get back. We kind of veered off a little bit about problems in the shop. We touched on organization. What other things do y'all have?
I had a problem the other day. We were talking with Tyler. He has a new system coming out it's vacuum pucks, and it was really amazing stuff that he's got coming out. It's already out, by the way. But I have vacuums already set up in my shop for doing stabilization. And talking with Tyler, came up with a really good solution for manifold. And so what a manifold is that you can turn on different portions of your vacuum system at one time. And so I actually got 2 vacuum systems, two manifolds. One, so I can control. I have 2 vacuum pots, so that way vacuum pots. There we go, to be able to do stabilization of my resin, and then I can pull that over and also turn that off and turn it onto my other system where I can turn on different vacuum pods at the same time. And that was a big help. Being able to come up with a solution to a problem, and you may not know it's a major problem at the time because you think, oh, I'll just go do this, when you're spending a lot more money, where I only spent, I think, $50 total. And I got all of that taken care of very quickly. And so that was one I just recently had. I just wanted to throw out there. Do you all have like similar situations where you have very small ones that just a real quick answer just fixes it?
Yeah, but I tend to blow them out of proportion and just go straight off, like make it a bigger problem, right, than it needs to be. But like you're saying, it's helpful to talk with people, I guess. Yeah. So you can simplify things, because you may, I tend to do that. I make it into a bigger issue than it needs to, and it's just a simple little, like you're saying, $50 solved your problem. Yeah. And I could see that with Tyler's vacuum pods. Once I get a more permanent work table, because I really like his extrusion table, and I really, really want to build one like that, to where once I can mount all that stuff and figure out a solution to route everything. Oh, God.
He's here.
Zinger. Here's a zinger for you.
Yeah. Jeez. So yeah, go ahead. Somebody else. But no, I want to make that where I can
put my head down.
She just knows when to come in. She's got radar. They have radar.
You know, my wife has her phone number now.
I know that's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
That's very scary.
Very.
Jeez. There's nothing in okay. Anyhow, but yeah, I mean, I've been what? How long has it been, Matt? I've been trying to put my shop together for a while, and I'm like BJ though. You know, I start looking at things. Hell, I just tore it apart again, and you know, it's like I had a solution already set up. I didn't like the way it was working, and I ripped it all apart, and I'm redoing it for something better. You know, more organization. That's a thing because I get sick of seeing stuff just scattered everywhere. And it, you know, with this project that I started doing, it's like I have to clean up. I got to clean. I got to move stuff off the table to get started on this project. And that doesn't, then it's like, now I don't want to make a mess. I don't want to get started on that now. I don't want to do it, you know, as to where if I had it organized and everything was put in its own place, you know, I would, you know, I could do other stuff, you know, and not have to worry about cleaning. So, you know, I don't know.
Well, so that's a problem I've got, and I've got to get with Tyler on this because, you know, when he was gracious enough to send us out the vac pods, I told him I was using the Rockler T-track table as my sanding station. Well, now that table's going to become my computer station because I'm tired of using the Craig AWS or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving that to another side of my shop, and I'm just going to go back to using my workbench as my sanding station just because it's easier. I tend to use it majority of anything. And so I'm just going to cut dog holes in it. So I got to get with him and be like, hey, so I need these, and order those from him so I can actually, you know, use them.
Yeah, Steve brings up, you know, a place for everything and everything in its place. And that's true.
Yeah.
But you have to figure out where that place is. And sometimes you look at it and you're looking at it like this, just like a horse running down a racetrack. You're looking, you're not looking at everything that's there. And somebody can look at your stuff and see something totally different and listen to how you run your shop and then go, you know what, if you do this, maybe this might help you out a little bit.
Yeah.
See, I heard a deal is Mark Spagnola said it. He likes to, you know, the man's a pro at moving shops, right? He's done it just kind of like Jason Bench as well. They move after a couple of years or so, but they like to, you know, Mark said he likes to get in there and he likes to live in it for a little bit, for a little bit and figure out, because you can organize, but if it don't flow,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter because now you're making extra trips that you don't have to. So by living in it for a little bit, just, you know, I'm an exception to it. It's just, you know, I have a lot of squirrel moments, you know, but by living in it, you get to know where you want things placed and how you want it done. And just like Steve said, it's always evolving. Your shop's always evolving. When you set it up for the first time, it's going to change and it's going to change and it's going to keep changing and it's going to change as you incorporate other tools, you know?
Yeah.
And that'll be a good placement once you bring something new in, you know?
Yep.
And that's where I have it. I don't necessarily say it bad, but that's a little bit, you know, between my ADHD and a little bit of the autism. I don't like things staying the same way. You know, I feel like if it stays the same way for too long, you kind of get sedentary in the shop flow. And but it's also that same thing. It's like, well, I've worked with it this way for this long. You know, it's maybe it can be more efficient. And that was the biggest problem with the way I had it set up is if I'm sitting at my computer and I need to say, go to my miter saw, I've got to walk around stuff. Or if I'm doing stuff, like there were so many times I would have to make these big long loops. And no, my shop's not huge, but I'm having to walk these loops around my shop. And it's like, well, if I do this, then I can have a straight shot from miter saw to workbench or miter saw to this or sanding table to this. And it's just, you know, it's making those movements more efficient instead of just walking all over the place. And it was also kind of the plugs, the way I had plugs set up. If my laser was running, because my sander, my dust extractor was hooked up to the same plug as my laser and the CNC, they share the same circuit. So as well, if my CNC is running or my laser's running, I can't sand.
Mhm.
Or vice versa. If I'm sanding, I can't run those machines, run the computers, because they don't like, with the CNC, it doesn't like the interference that the sander puts on, or the dust extractor puts onto the circuit, and it was causing problems. And it's just, okay, well, I got to make that more efficient. Well, then I got a line draped across my floor, and my clumsy butt, I'm going to trip over that line, or my kid's going to trip over it, and so it's like, okay, let's make it more efficient. So,
Well, I was talking with Jason a couple nights ago, and I was like, my shop has changed over the years and stuff, obviously, but I had one flush trim saw, for example, when I first started, and it went right in this one spot. Now I have 4. And like all those different kinds of tools that you were just like, oh, I just need one, and then you get another one, maybe you started with like an Amazon like box of router bits or something, and over time you just get some more expensive ones, and then what do you do with those? Now you got to make something to put those into, and just that organization of having everything in its own spot, like Steve said, like I need a router bit, that's over here. I need a saw, that's over here. Having everything like in its own spot, and demolishing my shop to move everything around has basically allowed me to put everything, well, not everything on the workbench, but all those small things that I'm just like, all right, this needs a holder, this needs a holder, this needs a holder, and grouping stuff together to just kind of see what you actually have and where it can go. And maybe I need a cabinet for this. Maybe I need a 3D print that I can hang on the wall for this or something. Like Matt's chainsaw holder, perfect example. Like maybe they were just in a drawer at one point, and now they're hanging somewhere in the shop or in the shed or wherever they are, like just having organization.
Well, and most of us is, most of our shops are just not wood shops, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have a little bit of everything: household tools, lawn tools, try to organize it, try to get it in its place. You're shaking your head no, but some people don't have an external shed. They're not, but if you do, you got to get all that stuff in a place where, which is a good segue into what Matt saw and Tyler explained. Like Tyler, he has a small shop and he color codes everything, and everything knows that what's in that sustainer is for that specific task,
There's not enough blues. There's not enough blues.
Yeah. but doing things like that, you can grab it. I need metric bolts or whatever.
Yeah.
Boom. You go grab that sustainer and everything is in there to do whatever you have to do.
Well,
that's genius. That's a good thing to do.
Well, I did that when I built my miter saw station, because I added all the drawers and I had space in between the drawers. I had a gap there that I could put just small, like just slide out drawers that were on plywood runners.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing I did when I was looking, I was like, well, what can go in these drawers? What can fit in there? And I was like, screws. Because we use a ton of screws. Well, all my screws were in these, I forget what brand. I got them at one of the big box stores, but it's the stackable plastic containers. Well, every time I need
yeah,
and it's like every time I need a screw, I'm having to pull this out of the slot it's in, open it, get a screw.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 3 motions for one thing. Well, now it's literally, I can slide this drawer out. I can take the drawer with me. It's got the screws right there. I'm not having to open anything. And the other thing with the way I had the screws before, where I would normally set them when I was working on stuff, it was in the way of my miter saw. So then if I'm needing to use the miter saw, I've got to put that thing away. Now I can have that drawer slid open to the 4 main sizes of screws that I use on a regular basis are the first 4 slots in this drawer. So I can have it open about a foot where I can get to every single one of those. I can still use the miter saw. I'm not going to run into it. It's right there, and it makes life so. And I labeled them because I can, if my kids or my daughters help me in there and be like, hey, it's the one that says 3/4 or the one that says 1 inch or whatever. And she knows to go look over there and go, oh, this one? Yep, it's that one.
Mhm.
You know, so if I'm laying on the ground or standing up on a ladder trying to screw something in, I can easily direct somebody where to go.
And I have that. I have that as well. But I want to get it down to, I'm not building like I usually build. I'm not putting on a 10,000 square foot deck every day. I want to get it down to more blues. That's
More
exactly
blues.
more blues. Maybe a green every once in a while. Sometimes they look the same, but more blues where I have bulk drawers with those labels on there, and then I have smaller sustainers that have all those different types of screws that I need with the bit in it that it's needed to run those screws, where you can just grab that pack out, not pack out the sustainer, grab it, pull it with you, bring your drill. Everything should be in there. And if it's not in there, like Tyler's told me, he says it's his fault if it's not in there.
Yeah. Now, as far as
I'll blame him too. It'd be his fault that it's not in my sustainer.
As far as the bits go, though, I will say this: I found it's an attachment that goes on the side of my drill, and it holds 3 bits. And you give me like a pack of 2, so you can put one on either side of the drill. It holds 6 bits. So on my drill at all times, I have, the Phillips that I have, because I use they used to be called Velocity. They've gone back to the Phillips brand screws. They've just used their parent name.
Yeah, they're based out of Rhode Island, I think.
Yeah, and I love them for the fact that you could hold a screw or hold a drill from the screw when it's in. So if you're having to finagle something, you're not worried about screws falling off. So I've got a bit for all 3 of their screw types. They're 2 Phillips and their Torx. I've got one for the old Spax Torx screws that I have because I tend to have to remove those because that's what I use for years. And then just a standard Phillips head screw, bit, and some other random bits in there. And they are always on my drill. So no matter where I go with that drill, I can undo a screw or put in a screw no matter what I'm doing. And having that attached to my impact drill or impact driver is amazing. And that's what I asked my wife for Father's Day a couple of years ago. I was like, this is all I want. Just get me a couple packs of these so I can put them on every drill or every impact driver I've got, so I can always have all these bits at the ready. And is
that the fastback?
I think it is. I'll send you the link. And they're like $10 for a 2 or 3 pack, and they just adhesive onto the side, and it's just having everything right there, because the last thing you want to do, like Matt said, you grab a screw, you don't want to go search for the freaking bit. You want to be able to, okay, here is the bit I need for said screw, not wait a second, where's that number 25 or whatever Torx bit or the Phillips number 7 for this screw. You just want to be able to go and do.
And I did something similar. So I have carabiners, and they have these quick connects. A carabiner, you know what a carabiner is?
We'll probably call it something different, but
like a D clip, a D ring clip.
Okay.
This guy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. I have those, and then they've been selling these sets. They're 1/4 inch quick connects that have key rings on them. And so I have and they're all different colors. So they have brown, blue, and green.
gray, and gray.
But anyway, there are a bunch of different colors on there. And I have quick connect. So I have, my Craig jig, long extension, short extension. I have pre-drilling stuff. I have I have all my bits are stuck on there, and I have them for each drill, and they're locked out in front of them. So I can just grab it, and I have, doesn't matter what I'm running, I have it sitting right there. I also did the same thing for wrenches. I did the same thing for Allen wrenches. Stuff like that. So I have them at every station. So bandsaw station, whatever those tools are required for that particular thing. So I'm not running around looking for, I got to bring out my box of tools and I got to put it right here.
Yeah.
I just have those tools sitting there, and that has helped tremendously.
So, and I'll give you some advice on the Craig drivers. Replace those. To me, that is the only thing about the whole pocket hole thing, anything from Craig. Those drivers are horrible because they round over real easy. Yeah. I ended up getting I think they're from Milwaukee. I think either Milwaukee makes them or Bosch makes them. And it's the same links. You can get them in the same links that Craig sells. And they do not round over. They are awesome.
We got a quick question real quick.
20 mil or 3/4. What are we talking about?
That's you. What size do you need?
Well, I mean, no. I'll have to check because I'll have to see what my CNC, what my wasteboard is on my CNC, because I've already got dog holes on that. So I'm going to cut the outfeed table or the workbench with the same dog holes. So I'll measure that and I'll let you know. I think it's 3/4, but I'm not 100% sure. Because I know Festool is standard 20 mil, right? And these are not Festool. I want to say they're 3/4, but I will double check. And if I don't get back to you tonight, you're going to have to probably remind me.
Wait longer.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. He had to come on a live show to ask you that question
well, I brought it up in the live about switching my stuff around. God. So here's a problem I ran into today. I love it when my kids come out and hang out in the shop, mainly my daughter, because she loves hanging out with dad in the shop. And y'all, I know Matt and Joey, y'all have got older kiddos. Problem is my daughter's a lot like me. She's ADHD. She doesn't know how to sit still. She likes to play with everything and touch everything. Which tends to lead to things getting broken in the shop. So last time she broke something, she broke a glue spreader, which Rockler still doesn't understand how it broke. I was like, well, if a 9-year-old can break something, it's going to get broke. Well, today she found out the dangers of playing with neodymium magnets. And had one explode in her hand. Yeah. And in showing her, like trying to take them away from her, ended up giving me a blood blister on my hand. And I guess, and not saying that's a problem. Like I love her being out there, but how in the past, or how do y'all deal with that with kiddos being in the shop? Like, is it, I just need to find one specific thing? Cause I try to give her tasks like, hey, here, I'm like today, like I've got this stack of nice scrap wood that I don't want to get rid of. I need you to organize it in this rack. Well, 2 minutes in, I'm bored. I don't want to do this. So what, do I just need to hand her a hammer and a 2x4 and a bunch of nails and just go here?
Exactly.
Have
That's
fun.
what I did a long time ago. And they'd go to town. Both of the two youngest, the boy and the girl, they would go to town hammering nails into that 2x4. I don't know. There was hundreds of nails. And every time they'd go out there, they do that. Now it's like the plague. They avoid this shop until I ask them to come out here. Yeah. They don't,
that's my older, unless he's got some paint project or something he wants to work on, he don't come out to dad's shop because he knows dad's going to put him to work.
Hell, when they hear I got to go to Home Depot or something, they're like, they scatter just.
Exactly.
And they're like, and when I make them go with me because I need help to pick up some stuff, they're like, oh, it's like
Oh yeah,
nails scratching on the
that's my
chalkboard.
wife. It's like, hey, you want to go to Lowe's with me? Why? Because I got to get this and this, and I'm gonna need your help loading in the truck. But I don't wanna. It's heavy.
Gracie will come out and ask. She'll ask me straight up, do you need help? Do you need me to do anything?
Yeah.
And if I need help, I'll help, and then I'll just cut her loose. But if she wants to do something, I will stop everything that I am doing to help her do her project.
Yeah.
And then I will kind of slowly at the end kind of pull myself away from it to see if to let her try to do it by herself. I've taught you how to fish. Now let's see if you can eat the fish. If you can catch the fish, cook the fish, eat the fish. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I love her being out there with me. I just hate, it's like, okay, come on. We've had this discussion before about if you don't know what the tool is, you don't know what the thing is, please don't touch it.
Well, and also you got to remember age.
Yeah.
What age level are you at? Are you at the age where you still need to sit there and monitor everything they do? Are they going to go out there with a nail gun and shoot it through their thumb?
At 9 more than likely, yeah. No, there is no unsupervised, children in the shop. Like it doesn't happen. I mean, heck, I'm to the point where we had her birthday party here a year or so back, and I kept the shop locked. And even some of the dads like, oh, I want to go in there. I'm like, all right, cool, let's go in there real quick. And as soon as we leave, that deadbolt's locked again. Like there are no kids going in that shop alone.
Yeah.
And I tell her like, because she was like, oh, I left this out in the shop. Can I go get it? Yep. You have 60 seconds. I'm going to time you because that's enough time for you to get out there, get what you need, and get back in. And it's not that I'm not worried about her because I don't keep nail guns connected. I don't, she knows the most stuff not to touch, but it's like, what's going to happen if she decides to throw something and it shatters the glass of my laser? Or,
well, I mean, I try really hard to make it fun.
Yeah.
I tried to make it as a kid, I tried to make it fun. Did it stick? It did for one, didn't for the other.
Yeah.
So it's all going to be personality based. But you try to make it fun, you try to make it safe, and then you try to give them the leeway to be able to figure it out on themselves. Because that's, I mean, I remember being 4 or 5 years old, and my mom was like, here's 2x4s, here's sandpaper.
Yeah.
And I put together, it was something stupid. It was like a 2x4 that I rounded out the front end of it. And we took a hammer and a screwdriver, made a indention into it, and put a battery in it with a light bulb, and basically made it was I called them snowmobiles, which they weren't, but then when we raced them down the hill. But it was, to us at 4 or 5 years old, that was super creative.
Yeah,
and it was that they saw the interest there, so there was interest building, and so then you build on that.
Yeah.
So that's what.
And she, like today, I had to move some lights around for the dust collection. And it's like, well, hey, I hold this, you run the screw in. Really? I'm like, yeah. What's the worst that's going to happen? You bounce a screw across the shop.
Yeah.
Because I've already done it 3 times and I can't, I'm trying to lean over and run this screw in. You're standing on the CNC right underneath it. Here, you do it.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. And of course, kids, there's 2 settings for an impact driver for a kid. It's off and full power.
Yeah.
And that screw went home.
Oh, yeah.
Went all the way home. I was like, all right, let's back this off a little bit, kiddo.
And then start teaching. You're holding with this. You're squeezing with this. Let's try that. And you teach that.
I did find out when trying to use an impact driver with a socket with a universal bit, or where you can come in at an angle.
Yeah,
she's not allowed to use that. she shot a 3/4 inch socket across the shop one day and dented the front of my toolbox from the other side of the shop. And she's like, she starts laughing because she thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. I'm like,
she's talented.
I was like, she's like, that was awesome. I'm like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm fine too. She's like, wait, was that a bad thing? I'm like, Dad's done it 1,000 times. Don't worry about it.
All right. Why don't we take this into the after show, guys?
Let's
okay.
do it.
Want to thank everybody for showing up. Remember, next week is our 100th show. We'll put out some stuff. Let everybody, friends, family, enemies know. You have to be present. There is some good prizes in there. So come celebrate with us.
Right now, right? At least 13 people giving away stuff.
13 or 14 different items.
I know Joey had to take off one shoe to start counting. So, I mean, that's pretty decent.
Yeah. But remember, I don't need to take my shoes off. Make sure you go give us 10 stars. 10
of them.
I need 10 on the iTunes, please. Please remember to give us a thumbs up here on the YouTubers. And if you'd be so kindly, come back in after the show and leave us a message. Remember to, if you want us to talk about something, please send us an email to creativemakerspodcast@gmail.com, and we will talk about it. If you have questions, direct them all to BJ. And
Tag, you're it.
No. Mr. BJ,
that's
no
at
here.
Byram's Custom Woodworks on IG.
Mr. BJ, no here.
So, anyhow, thank you all for hanging out with us on this lovely Sunday. We always look forward to this, talking with our friends. And if you feel it in you, please head on over to Creative Makers Podcast on the Patreons. And if you want to support us, give us some support, help us keep the lights on and potential stuff down the road. We're changing some stuff up, and it's going to be for the better. Is that a way to say it? For the best? Just trying to keep it entertaining. Still trying to learn a bunch of different platforms. We still need to figure out how to get into Spotify and see if there's any comments in there. Those would be cool to read. That's what we need to task ourselves to get to. But anyhow, until next week, we'll see all y'all guys, whoever's in Patreon, in the after show. And y'all have anything else y'all want to input?
Have a great week.
Same bat channel.
There you go. Yeah.
There we go.
So we will see y'all next week. Same place, same time, same beautiful faces. And remember to send all your questions to Byram's Custom Woodworks. Bye-bye.